Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts, taking another look at Cardano to see what's been going on with the price action of ADA and what I think will happen next. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button, I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with all the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below, fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out? It's completely free. Right, with all that said, done and out of the way, let's jump down into Cardano here. So we are paired up with USDT. We are on the hourly chart here, and I just want to walk you through what's gone on, what I think is going to happen next as we kind of get into a bit of a corrective state, and yeah, what this might mean for Cardano next. So on this hourly chart, as you can see, we were tracking this nice move upwards, this kind of impulsive structure on our hourly chart. We actually failed to hit the impulsive line on the weekly chart, sorry, on the daily chart even, and basically that was 126.7. Now it is possible that this is some kind of corrective play that actually leads us up there, but I think ultimately we've lost the structure at this point to actually call this an impulsive move on the daily chart. So this makes it ABC up, and we should potentially be thinking ABC down, okay? And it's about monitoring the amount of pullback on that daily chart as to what happens next for Cardano. Okay, it's not the end of the world that we've gone ABC rather than impulsive. It just means that short-term moves more than long-term moves, which is fine. So we're going to take a look at this, right? So we can see here that we had this basically this wedge form out, and then we broke down from it. Now, what's really interesting about this is its positioning. It's an unusual place to actually have this. So the only way that we can kind of monitor this is to actually articulate that this fifth wave high is the low point. We pulled down into an A, B, C, D, and E, and then broke down that way. I mean, it's not neat by any stretch of the imagination, but I think essentially what this actually looks like is some kind of large ABC move, right? We had the ABC come, actually 5 waves come down, 3 waves come up in some kind of complex move, and then 5 waves come back down. So essentially what you end up with is a B wave that got you stuck into a wedge or continuation, and then 5 waves down. This basically was a flat correction with 5, 3, 5 at the end. So really cool to kind of see it play out like this, but it was really difficult to actually witness what was going on here. It actually formed many different patterns, and it wasn't overly clear until we got in towards this very last moment that we were going to have this pullback rather than that surge upwards. But nonetheless, we are here, and we can also track what's been going on most recently. So what we want to do is we want to jump in, right? So if this is our correction complete, which it actually looks like it, a 535, what we want to do is we want to jump into this and find out what was going on just here. So we have a larger play, and I think this is the one that's probably worth actually just paying attention to. If we grab hold of this and we just transpose it over to here, this will actually show us that we did not go impulsive on this move upwards, right? We didn't hit the minimum 1.618 requirement for a wave 3. So this just becomes, again, another A, B, overextended C wave, right? There's lots of noise in the middle, and we can kind of dive into all of that if you want, but essentially on the macro, that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So it's not an impulsive move. And then of course we start to track this going back down, and again we have what looks like to be an A wave coming down, and now we're looking for some kind of traction upwards, and we have I think what might be an expanding kind of flat correction just here of 333, and then we're probably going to pull back down. So to save drawing out all of the waves, what I will do is draw out the low points here and the high points, and then I can kind of give you a bit of an idea as to where that's going to go next. And I will take it from here, and we'll just move it over to that high point that we've just had there. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll just plot this on for you guys. So essentially we have A, we have B bounce, and then we come down into a lower C. Okay, so what we've done here, if we actually just zoom out a little bit, is we've got a corrective pattern. We then have another corrective pattern go up, and again we're setting lower highs on this journey. Okay, and again setting a lower high, and then we're going to pull back down here. Okay, and then we'll look for directional move upwards. Now the interesting thing is we haven't dropped down lower than this point, this being $1.10.3. At least not yet. So what we want to do is we want to, because we're not in impulsive move, we can't use standard kind of fib levels to kind of help us guide us on this way down. We have to wait for some waves to form out here. But it does look like there's going to be a correction come down, and the target for that would be $1.12.4. approximately. And now on the 4-hourly chart and the 8-hourly chart, we've got different positions on our stochastics. So on our hour, we are overbought, right? So this is indicating we should be thinking downward move. Okay, on the 4-hour chart, we're also in a pretty interesting location here where we could see this pull back down. Okay, we're not overbought, but we're not oversold. We're actually quite high. And as the hourly chart corrects, we should expect our 4-hourly chart to correct. Now, we get interesting when we start thinking about where we are on our 8-hour chart. We're actually oversold, meaning that there should be a bounce coming to the upside soon, and it should be of some kind of substantial nature. But the daily chart is correcting. We're not overbought, but we are pulling back a little bit, okay, and we do have to have a little bit of work here before we can actually have a good move to the upside. Now, what I'm going to do on this daily chart, just bring this down. As you can see, we had a good move up, but we failed to hit the 1.618 at $1.26.7. So if I remove this and I remove our impulsive moves, because it's not impulsive here, instead what we've got here is a larger A, B, and C move. And obviously, that's just tracking this move. Now, the other way that we can look at Cardano is that this is an impulsive structure. And I think this is where a lot of other cryptocurrencies are also currently sat, right? Some have used this low point as a wave 1 and a wave 2, but it might be that this is actually a wave 1 for Cardano. And what we're in at the moment is a 4th wave complex correction before we get that 5th wave, or before we actually start to see that next move upwards. Because essentially what we're looking for on the weekly, if I come back here, is to see this up in the overbought area, then have a correction. So I don't think we've actually got necessarily a 5th wave. So what I want to do is on this daily chart, on this macro, let's just pay attention to a few different things and see how this one plots out. Because we have got, let me just check, this low is 77.7, this low is 77.6. So this one is lower. Okay, so this is going to be our starting position. And we've got a couple of different areas here that we can look at. Now, this one looks pretty interesting, but it would mean that this is actually a 5th wave higher right here. So if we were to do that, we actually have that hitting those on the nose. So it does look like we might have 5 waves inside our daily right here. Now I'll just plot this up. Let me just grab hold of this. So it looks like this could be a wave 1, and it's relatively shallow. It doesn't really matter too much where we put it, but I would want it to be a decent correction. So I'll put it here for now, with a wave 3, wave 4, and a wave 5. And if this is the case, again, we'll just want to do some due diligence here. Just check it to make sure that everything is exactly what you'd expect it is. So that could be your 5 moves there, and this could be our correction coming down. Now, the problem that I have with this is that the correction needs to be deep. It needs to be deep enough for a wave 2 to be it's going to be classed as a wave 2, I guess. I mean, wave 2s are usually at least 50%. So for Cardano, we'll be looking at a potential correction that could take us down to around that 98-cent range. Okay, it is possible as well that you drop down to 82 cent. I don't think we're there yet. I think that this would be more of in line with a weekly correction. So if this is something that we start seeing here for Cardano, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because pulling back down on correcting the weekly chart could actually be a really good position for Cardano to actually line up nicely for a really big wave 3. Okay, so if we start thinking about where things like Singularity Net or Singularity DAO are, they're actually in a very similar position. They've had 5 waves up like this, and they're looking for their second wave corrections. And it could be that Cardano is in the same pattern. Whereas something like Solana's actually had its wave 3. Right? So if I quickly show you that, and just to compare these two things together, just so you get a good concept as to you're on the same journey, but you're at different parts on the path. So where is Solana on my list here? Let me find it, because it's a good one to kind of just plot out, because it did just hit its impulsive level. So where are you? Let me find Solana. I'll just type it in, it'll be easier. So Solana USDT. Okay, if we bring this in, on our daily chart here, you can see that we hit the 3rd wave high, right? And again, it's using this low point, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. This is what we wanted for Cardano, but actually you could argue that Cardano is actually in a slightly better position, because all of this would essentially just be a wave 1 and we pull back into a wave 2. This meaning that we would have a fantastic wave 3 still to come and a wave 4 and 5, right? And if this is the case, let's hypothetically just say, let me just remove this, and we'll hypothetically say that we have a 50% retracement on Cardano. And if we do that, then our wave 3, we actually need to move this around a little bit. One sec, let me pull that back down into our low point, move this over to our 50% retracement. Our wave 3 would essentially end at about $2.12, okay? Then you'd have a wave 4, and then you would have a wave 5 afterwards, right? So if this structure is correct and we start to see that play out, then our wave 2 correction here will be on the macro an A, B, C. Now this actually looks like something that is very possible, right? This entire move that we had so far is an A wave, so let me grab hold of that. And then we move this over to this bounce that we've had on the high side. And we can see that this has actually taken us down to a 1-to-1 ratio of about $1.05, right? So we're getting closer and closer into a deeper correction. Now, obviously, going down into the 1.618 would make that a 5-wave move. You want to avoid that. So we don't want to go down necessarily to a 50% retracement. We want a bit close to it. Okay, so this would actually allow for that. So an ABC correction come down and then a good surge upwards. Now, the higher that our correction goes, let's hypothetically say that it is just a 1-to-1 ratio and we don't drop down that low, then our third wave would have to go higher to $2.28, okay, and then a fourth wave correction and so forth. So, and there's a lot of fantastic things going on here for Cardano, and I know it's a little bit frustrating that maybe we didn't have the third wave, but we've still got that structure in place for 5 waves up on the daily chart. And what we're looking for now is a bit of a correction, a reasonable one. That would hopefully correct not just the daily, but also a sizable amount of the weekly. And then we get this this absolutely fantastic surge higher for wave 3 before wave 4 and 5 come in. And all of that will be pretty meaningful on the weekly chart. So essentially, if I come up to the weekly, all of that would look like basically, you know, one clear wave up, right? So I think we're in a pretty good and interesting position here for Cardano. So just to kind of keep us focused in on what's happening now, let's just summarize. I'm expecting a pullback on our hourly chart, right? We've got some low levels of about $1.12.4. Then I'm expecting some kind of surge upwards, but nothing too major. And obviously just to continue a choppy corrective move going down. I would expect potentially 5 waves down at some point. After we've actually completed this move. So as I said earlier, we've got basically, you know, this correction pattern of 5 waves coming down here, ending in a C wave. We've got 3 waves here, 3 waves here. We might have 3 waves up or whatever. And then we continue to kind of work our way down towards our lower range targets. Once we actually come down in a bigger macro ABC move, targeting out at about $1.05, that will then should hopefully mark a good move for a surge upwards again for Cardano. And again, the timing on this, I don't really know. Timing isn't something that I'm going to be able to kind of do for you guys. But I imagine it's not going to be quick. It's going to be quite slow. And we should start to see something move probably in the next kind of month or so, or maybe a little bit longer. But kind of give you guys a rough idea of what I'm thinking there. Guys, if you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.